What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's get started with our first news. Robert Whittaker recently gave his perspective on Islam Makhachev's future, suggesting that the lightweight champion might realistically move up to middleweight after the way he dominated Jack Della Maddalena last night. According to Whittaker, Makhachev's composure, strength, and overall command of the fight looked like qualities that could translate effectively into a higher weight division. He emphasized that while such a move would be ambitious, it's not outside the realm of possibility given how well-rounded Islam's skill set has become. This discussion naturally led to speculation about Ilia Topuria and whether he might consider moving up not just one division, but two, from featherweight all the way to welterweight, to potentially challenge Makhachev for a third belt. While it sounds extreme, some fighters have taken such leaps before, and Topuria's confidence and competitive drive often spark these kinds of conversations. Still, moving up two divisions is a massive jump, especially when entering divisions filled with athletes who possess significantly greater natural size, power, and wrestling strength. Whittaker acknowledged this as well, pointing out that fighters at middleweight are a different breed altogether. Even for someone as technically gifted and disciplined as Makhachev, the middleweight landscape presents bodies that are naturally bigger, physically stronger, and accustomed to absorbing and delivering heavier shots. The wrestling exchanges, clinch work, and overall physicality are on an entirely different level. Yet, despite the challenges, Whittaker could still picture Makhachev making a competitive run at 185 pounds if he chose to. He believes Islam may actually have the frame and the discipline to successfully carry extra weight without losing mobility or control. His grappling-heavy style, combined with elite fight IQ, could still translate effectively, though he would face his toughest stylistic matchups to date. The conversation took a more electrifying turn when the idea of Islam Makhachev versus Khamzat Chimaev was mentioned. Whittaker couldn't help but smile at the thought of what would undoubtedly be one of the biggest fights in modern MMA history. The clash of dominant grapplers, relentless pressure fighters, and two of the most mentally imposing athletes in the sport would create a matchup capable of feeding generations, as he put it. Hosting such a fight in Abu Dhabi would elevate the event even further, creating an atmosphere unmatched anywhere else. For Whittaker, the magnitude of such a card would be nothing short of wild, a historic moment where everyone involved would walk away a winner. Before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out, and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Belal Muhammad shared his thoughts following Islam Makhachev's dominant victory over Jack Della Maddalena, expressing genuine happiness for Islam and the entire team behind him. While acknowledging the magnitude of Makhachev's accomplishment, Belal made it clear that his personal focus is locked entirely on his upcoming fight against Ian Gary next weekend at UFC Vancouver. Muhammad highlighted the significance of Team Khabib and coach Javier Mendez earning their first double champion within the team. Over the years, that camp has grown into one of the most dominant and respected groups in UFC history, producing champions, elite contenders, and some of the sport's most disciplined competitors. For Belal, witnessing their continued success is nothing short of legendary. He dismissed the idea that celebrating another fighter's achievements somehow diminishes his own. As he put it, someone else's success is not his failure, and he refuses to let fans or critics twist his mindset into something negative. He emphasized that every ounce of his attention remains directed toward Ian Gary. Since the fight was announced, Gary has been his singular target, the opponent he has studied, trained for, and mentally prepared to face. Belal noted that the welterweight division is buzzing right now with activity, major wins, and rising storylines. But none of that matters to him unless he performs when it counts. He stressed that next week is where everything either solidifies or slips away, the moment he must remind the world exactly who he is and why he belongs at the top of the division. Belal made it clear that simply winning isn't enough. To maintain his position in the title conversation and reinforce his identity as a true contender, he believes he must dominate. In his words, nothing else matters unless he smashes Ian Gary. A decisive victory is not just preferred, it's required. He wants to make a statement, finish Gary, and deliver a performance so undeniable that it silences doubts and re-establishes him as one of the best welterweights in the world. For Muhammad, next weekend isn't just another fight, it's a proving ground, a chance to reaffirm his place among elite welterweights, and an opportunity to show that his hunger, drive, and readiness for championship gold remain as sharp as ever. Above everything, that mission, not anyone else's victory, is his priority. Move on to another news. Following the chaos at UFC 322, Dana White addressed masked the unexpected brawl involving Dillon Danis and members of Islam Makhachev's team. The incident unfolded in the crowd during the event, and according to Dana, it was an outcome he partially blames himself for. He explained that moments before walking out for the main card, security informed him that Dillon Danis was in the building and not sitting in the seat that matched his ticket. Instead, Danis was wandering around, occupying fighter seating and drawing unnecessary attention. Security asked Dana whether he wanted Danis removed immediately. Dana's first question was whether Danis had a legitimate ticket. When told he did, Dana decided to let him stay, as long as he returned to his assigned seat and was closely monitored. At the time, Dana didn't anticipate any major issue emerging from the situation. However, he was also informed that Jorge Masvidal had made it clear he was willing to confront Danis on site. When Dana asked how close their seats were, he was told only 6 or 7 rows separated them. Still, Dana assumed the situation could be contained. What he overlooked, as he admits, was the fact that the first several rows were filled with Islam supporters and teammates, what he jokingly referred to as the entire Muslim Brotherhood. In a setting charged with loyalty and emotion, allowing Danis to roam freely proved to be a mistake. As soon as the fight broke out, Dana immediately knew what had happened even before reaching the scene. The decision was instant and final. Dillon Danis would never be permitted to attend another UFC event. The aftermath quickly went viral. Influencer Chonko, also known as John Pork, reportedly landed several clean punches on Danis during the altercation. Afterward, he even posted a Photoshop picture with Jorge Masvidal, humorously depicting Masvidal holding Danis' head like a trophy. Observers pointed out that Chonko's knuckles appeared visibly bloodied, adding fuel to the social media frenzy. Islam Makhachev also addressed the situation. He explained that for years, Danis had spoken negatively about him and his team. Islam emphasized that when someone talks recklessly for so long, they eventually have to face the consequences when confronted in person. According to Islam, Danis failed to answer for his words, even after repeatedly disrespecting the team. Islam concluded with a sharp remark: if Danis is banned from UFC events for life, he believes Danis should be banned from the country as well. Move on to another news. Rampage Jackson did not hold back when sharing his reaction to the Islam Makhachev vs Jack Della Maddalena main event at UFC 322. According to the former UFC light heavyweight champion, the fight was one of the most uneventful and tedious matchups he has seen in recent years. He described it as top 10 boring, comparing it to dull boxing matches where the outcome feels predetermined long before the final bell. Rampage acknowledged that Islam Makhachev is undeniably skilled, technically sound, and highly effective. However, he argued that dominance alone does not automatically translate into entertainment. For Rampage, the fight lacked excitement, unpredictability, and the kind of dramatic moments that keep fans emotionally invested. He emphasized that as a viewer, he wants to watch competitive action, not a fight that feels like a foregone conclusion from the opening minutes. He went on to explain how a performance like this influences his future viewing habits. When a fighter delivers a lackluster showing, especially when someone is watching them seriously for the first time, it can make viewers less interested in tuning in again. Rampage admitted that this fight had that exact effect on him. He said that the next time he sees Makhachev listed on a card, he might be less motivated to watch, simply because this performance didn't leave a strong or memorable impression in terms of entertainment value. Rampage described how he evaluates fighters as a fan. If the first time he watches someone, they deliver a boring fight, he doesn't immediately become a supporter. It takes a standout performance later for him to change his perception. He even mentioned that sometimes he forgets which fighters had dull performances until they impress him in a future matchup. In this case, he believes that this was either the first time, or one of the only times, he had watched Islam fight in full, which made the lack of excitement more noticeable to him. Despite acknowledging Islam's dominance and technical mastery, Rampage felt the fight simply did not deliver the thrill fans expect from a UFC main event. For him, entertainment value plays a major role in how he views fighters, and this particular matchup failed to spark enthusiasm or anticipation for Islam's future appearances. He concluded that while Islam is undeniably effective, this performance did not make him eager to watch the champion again unless he shows a more dynamic, engaging style in the future. Move on to another news. Dana White addressed the situation surrounding Leon Edwards after his knockout loss to Carlos Proaz at UFC 322, a result that marked Edwards' third consecutive massive defeat. The UFC president was candid in acknowledging how difficult the moment was for the former champion and how uncertain the path ahead now appears. Speaking at the post-fight press conference, Dana described the night as rough for Edwards and admitted that he isn't sure what comes next for him at this stage of his career. According to Dana, the immediate plan is simple: allow Leon Edwards to return home, take time away from the pressure, and process everything. He emphasized the importance of Edwards regrouping mentally before any discussions take place about his future in the sport. White explained that once Edwards has had that time to reflect, the UFC will reconnect with him, gauge where his mindset is, and then determine the next appropriate step. For now, Dana said he has no idea whether Leon's best years are behind him, noting that these situations are impossible to predict in such a volatile and unforgiving sport. He went on to highlight the broader context of the event, pointing out that the card carried a huge amount of buzz leading into the night. The reason, he said, was simple: all the fights were incredibly competitive, intense, and action-packed. When athletes step into the octagon at the highest level, especially on cards stacked with elite matchups, anything can happen. Even the most skilled and experienced fighters can be caught, overwhelmed, or surprised, and Dana stressed that this unpredictability is part of what makes the sport both thrilling and heartbreaking. Reflecting on Edwards specifically, Dana reminded reporters that this is the reality of competing with the best fighters in the world. No one is safe, no one is unbeatable, and even champions can find themselves suddenly facing adversity. For Leon, the losses don't erase the years of excellence that brought him a title, but they do force difficult questions about how he moves forward, what adjustments he needs to consider, and whether his body and mindset can still perform at the highest level. Dana closed his comments by reiterating that the UFC won't rush Edwards into decisions. Instead, they will give him the space he needs to recover emotionally and physically before exploring his future. For now, the focus is simply on allowing Leon Edwards to regroup after another tough setback in what has been one of the sport's most punishing divisions. Move on to another news. Sean Brady released a heartfelt statement following his knockout loss to Michael Morales at UFC 322. Posting a photo to his Instagram, Brady addressed his fans, supporters, and the MMA community with a message filled with humility, gratitude, and determination. In his caption, Brady began by reassuring everyone that he was healthy and doing well after the tough defeat. He acknowledged the unpredictable nature of mixed martial arts, calling it a sport that delivers the highest highs and the lowest lows. Despite the emotional and physical challenges that come with moments like this, Brady emphasized that he embraces every part of the journey. He explained that simply waking up each morning and being able to live his dream as a professional fighter is something he never takes for granted, and one loss, no matter how painful, will not change that. Brady then expressed deep appreciation for the people who stand by him unconditionally. He thanked his family, whom he described as his foundation, as well as his coaches, training partners, friends, and sponsors who continue to support him through every rise and fall. He made it clear that their encouragement means the world to him and plays a major role in keeping him grounded, motivated, and hungry to improve. Calling this defeat another lesson along his journey, Brady framed the setback not as a career-defining moment, but as an opportunity for growth. He stressed that adversity is a natural part of the sport and that every fighter, no matter how talented or experienced, must learn from their mistakes, rebuild, and return stronger. He promised that he would be back in the gym soon, ready to resume training and refocus on his goals. The message conveyed his trademark resilience and competitive spirit, underscoring his commitment to evolve and get back on track as quickly as possible. Brady's statement resonated with fans because it showcased maturity, perspective, and genuine gratitude. Rather than dwelling on the loss or making excuses, he looked forward with optimism and clarity. His response reflects the mindset of a true professional, one who understands that success in MMA is not measured by an undefeated record, but by the ability to persist, adapt, and continue fighting regardless of setbacks. As the welterweight contender begins his recovery and prepares for the next chapter, his message serves as a reminder that even in defeat, there is strength, learning, and purpose. Brady's supporters can expect to see him return with renewed focus, ready to make another run toward the top.